Forget.
Welcome to episode 2 of Hotsmack, the Hotsmack Daily. So, today I want to talk about the people who think that the number one way to end social justice is by bringing kids back to school. This whole notion of, oh my gosh, they're going to miss time, they're going to go be way back, is ridiculous. Come on. Especially when some of these kids are having to deal with people dying. You know what's one thing that you can never get back in time? Is death or guilt that someone died because you had to go to school, which is still traditional, hasn't changed, hasn't adopted anti-racist curriculum, hasn't address things like multiple learning styles and is still guided by standardized testing. So you haven't changed the game. So why in the world were the students behind in the first place? You haven't changed anything about that. You haven't looked at the root cause of why the students were behind in the first place. And I'm talking about low income, black and brown students. Okay, because everyone's making a big noise. Oh my gosh, the divide is growing, it's growing. Man, like someone said, you think your kids don't get distracted at school? You think school's perfectly? Oh, the kids, their learning has been hampered. Now, if your students were doing great, they're doing great in virtual learning. They're learning some real world applications. It's just kind of funny. I think this is a criticism to both the woke and the unwoke. This whole notion that, oh, we have to get them back in school even though the virus is in its worst wave. Let's get our priorities straight. The number one thing in education is always and the foremost the safety of the students. Safety comes first. Because let me tell you a little secret. Not everyone learns the same way, and not everyone learns in the same timeline. No, no, no. So, a question is, are students behind? How behind are they? Why are they behind? So, obviously, there's things that need to be addressed in schooling before this miracle of us solving all our problems through education happens. Well, the system of education has to change first. Because if a kid went to school every single day for 5 years and it's behind 3 years, like what is them missing? Sometime during virtual learning gonna get that set them so far behind. Behind whose schedule? Whose schedule are we caring about? Now we obviously know why people want to put kids back in school right away. Because we teachers, because the teachers are babysitters. That's their primary job, making sure they babysit so people can go to work and parents can get a break. Trust me, if your student is learning in school, they're probably learning a lot in virtual learning too. Obviously, not to the same level, but people, priorities, 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 priorities right now is the health of every individual in our country and I guess in the world too. That's our priority. And for those fools that don't like wearing masks, oh my gosh, there's still people like that. When people tell you be in the right side of history, they mean it for a reason. They're not lying to you. It's kind of funny. Like some people want kids to go back to school, yet they don't believe in what school teaches. Go back to school so you can learn science. But you don't believe in the science that they're teaching your kids. Go back to school and learn how to analyze primary documents in history. But you tell when people tell you there's an alternative history, they're not telling you there's an alternative history. It's a history that hasn't been told. How could you deny that? Oh, we want our school kids to go to school, make sure they go to school so they can learn mathematics, but yet you don't know how to count electro bolts. This is kind of funny, okay? Let's change the educational system first. Let's really change it, really get what's the root cause of why kids are quote unquote behind, or maybe we're not really doing a great job of assessing their assets or using culture relevant material. Hmm, maybe that's the problem. Oh, so don't worry, people, that your kids missed 1 year of brick and mortar schooling. It's not going to change their life fundamentally. They'll be okay. If they were on track, they're still on track. If they weren't, they still aren't. There still needs to be some fundamental changes to make sure that no kid is really left behind and they could fulfill their self efficacy. So don't trip, chocolate chip. Kick it, cricket. Let's make sure that none of these kids, or let's try as much as possible to prevent these students from having to endure trauma of family members passing away if we could. Minimize it to to the best possible. That's the best thing we could do for our kids. Get them through this pandemic. Attend their social, no emotional needs with wherever they're going to. Get them ready to learn virtually or in school. That's our focus. Let's change education. Let's have this time to be a way to change education, change our mindset, and you adults are the first ones to model this. Wear your mask. Pay attention to what the science says. Read up your democracy. Read up on your constitutional rights and your documents so you could understand them. That there's a difference between civil liberties, like, I don't know, not being discriminated because of your race or religion, and the right to wear a freaking mask during a pandemic. Oh, I'm pro life, pro life, pro life, pro life. Then why don't you wear a mask? You ain't that much of a pro life. You don't want to wear no mask. You don't want to take care of immigrants. And how are you pro life? So, as you'll see, the extremes, I'll be talking about a lot about the extremes. They're extreme. That's all you need to know. So, please take care of each other. And remember, time could always be made up. When you miss time on an event, you miss time in class, you miss a holiday, all this could be made up next year. But life could never be made up. The loss of life could never be brought back. That's our focus, our health, our emotional health. Let's get through this together, guys. And remember, parents, learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. Help out your kid, read with them, explore with them. The state standards are on the website. You can make sure they're caught up. But most important, let them find the love of learning. This has been Hotsmack Daily. I'm out.